Imagine it's the last night before Ramadan. You've made your intention, you've stocked the fridge, you've told yourself this year will be different. This Ramadan you will finally be consistent. No wasted evenings, no arguments, no slipping back into the same habits. This year you are ready. And then Ramadan begins. And for the first few days, subhanallah, you feel it. There's a lightness, a clarity. Fajr feels easier. The Quran feels closer. Even the people around you seem a little more patient, a little more kind. Something in the air has genuinely shifted. But then, day 7 arrives, or maybe day 10, and you snap at your spouse over something small. Or you spend 2 hours scrolling through your phone after iftar. Or an ugly thought crosses your mind, jealousy, arrogance, something you're not proud of. And you stop and think, wait, isn't Shaytan supposed to be chained right now? If he's locked away, then what is this? Where is this coming from? That question, that honest, searching question, is exactly what we're going to answer today. And I promise you, the answer is not what most people expect. In fact, it might be the most important thing you reflect on this entire Ramadan. Let's start with what we actually know from authentic sources. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, as reported in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, when Ramadan comes, the gates of paradise are opened, the gates of hell are closed, and the devils are chained. This is not a metaphor people invented. This is a Sahih hadith, authenticated, established, agreed upon by scholars across centuries. Something real and significant happens at the start of this month. The spiritual landscape literally changes. But then, this is where most people stop reading. They hear the devils are chained, and they picture every single whisper of evil, every temptation, every dark impulse, all of it, locked in a box somewhere far away, gone, silenced. And then when they sin, they feel confused, or worse, ashamed, like they must be broken, like Ramadan isn't working for them. But the scholars never said it was that simple. Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, one of the greatest hadith scholars in Islamic history, addressed this very question in his monumental work Fath al-Bari. He explained that the chaining mentioned in the hadith refers specifically to the marada, the most powerful, most rebellious category of shayateen. The word marada means the tyrants, the extreme ones, the ones who are most relentless in pulling human beings toward destruction. These are chained, but not every single jinn, not every whisper, not every lesser devil operating in the world. And that distinction, that nuance, changes everything.
Think of it this way. Imagine a city where the most dangerous criminals, the masterminds, the kingpins, are taken off the streets. Crime doesn't disappear overnight, but the most sophisticated, most targeted attacks on you stop. You have room to breathe, room to grow, room that you simply didn't have before. That is Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not removing the test. He is reducing the external pressure so that you can finally see yourself clearly. And this, right here, is the part that changes everything. Because here is the question nobody wants to ask out loud. If Shaytan's most powerful forces are restrained, and you still feel pulled toward anger, toward laziness, toward arrogance, toward distraction, then where is it coming from? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answers this directly in the Quran. In Surah Yusuf, verse 53, the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam himself says, after one of the greatest trials a human being has ever faced, indeed, the soul is a persistent enjoiner of evil, except those upon whom my Lord has mercy. The nafs, the inner self, the ego, the desires that live not outside of you, but inside of you. Shaytan is a doorbell. He rings and rings and rings, but you are the one who chooses whether to open the door. And in Ramadan, the most powerful ringers are chained, but the door still has a handle. And the habits you have built over months and years, the patterns in your heart, the tendencies of your character, those do not vanish on the first of Ramadan.
That is why the Prophet ﷺ said, as reported in Sahih Bukhari, "Whoever does not give up false speech and acting upon it, Allah has no need of him giving up his food and drink." Fasting was never only about hunger, it was always about this: confronting the nafs, training the inner self, using the reduced external noise of Ramadan to do the deep work of the soul. Now here is the moment I want you to really sit with. The fact that you feel the struggle in Ramadan, the fact that you notice your impatience, your distraction, your pride, that is not a sign that something is wrong with you. That is actually the gift. When the loudest external voices are quieted, you can finally hear yourself. You can see which habits are truly yours now, not Shaytan's, yours. And that visibility, as uncomfortable as it is precisely what Ramadan is designed to give you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Dhariyat, verse 21, "And in yourselves, then will you not see?" The signs are within you. Ramadan is the month when that becomes undeniable. Let me tell you about a man. Let's call him Tariq. Tariq has been Muslim his whole life. He fasts every Ramadan without fail, he reads Quran, he prays Taraweeh, but every year, around the second week, he finds himself in the same argument with his father, the same tension, the same cold silence that stretches for days. For years, Tariq told himself, this is just family stress, this is Shaytan testing me. But one Ramadan, a scholar at his masjid said something that stopped him cold.
He said, "The chains on Shaytan in Ramadan are a mercy, not so you can relax, but so you can see the wound that has always been there." Tariq went home that night and sat with that. And for the first time, he didn't blame the argument on Shaytan or on his father. He looked at himself, at the pride he carried, at the old hurt he had never processed, at the pattern he had been repeating for years without examining. That Ramadan, he made a phone call he had been avoiding for 3 years. That is what this month is for. The chaining of Shaytan is not a holiday from spiritual struggle. It is an invitation to a deeper one, a more honest one where you can no longer point outside yourself and say, that's where the problem is. The problem and the solution are both within you. And Allah, Jalla Jalaluhu, in His infinite mercy, gives you this month, with reduced external warfare, with the gates of His mercy wide open, with every good deed multiplied, so that you have every possible advantage to do what is hardest, to change. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu says in Surah Ar-Ra'd, verse 11, "Indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves." Ramadan is the month that makes that change possible like no other time of year. So the next time you stumble in Ramadan, and you might, don't despair. Don't say Ramadan isn't working. Instead, get curious. Ask yourself, what is this showing me? What part of me still needs work? What habit have I been outsourcing to Shaytan that is actually mine to own? Because that question, asked honestly in the quiet of suhoor or in the stillness after a prayer, that question is an act of worship. That question is tadabbur. This Ramadan, don't just fast from food, fast from the excuses, fast from the deflection. Use the gift of these days to look inward, gently, honestly, and with the full hope that Allah Jalla Jalaluhu is closer to you in this month than at any other time. Because He is. The Prophet ﷺ told us in a hadith reported in Sahih Bukhari that Allah says, "Every deed of the son of Adam is for himself, except fasting. It is for me, and I will reward it." That is how precious this month is to Allah. And that means you, right now, in this moment of reflection, are exactly where you need to be. If this video made you think, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to go deeper into how to truly transform your heart this Ramadan, our next video is waiting for you. Keep reflecting, keep returning. That is what tadabbur is all about.